Good afternoon. And I am so pleased to be here, and even more pleased and honored to introduce and interview the next guest. Since the 1970s, Ian Schrager, founder and chairman of Ian Schrager Company, has achieved international recognition for concepts that have revolutionized the entertainment, residential, and hospitality industries. His passionate commitment to the modern lifestyle has been expressed through a series of pioneering concepts. The hotel as home away from home, the hotel as theater, cheap chic, lobby socializing, the indoor-outdoor lobby, the urban resort, and the urban spa. His keen instincts for the mood and feel of popular culture were honed during the 1970s and 80s, when he and his late business partner created the legendary Studio 54 and Palladium nightclubs. They soon turned their attention to the hotel business, opening Morgan's Hotel in 1984, introducing the concept of the boutique hotel to the world. Following this were the equally well-received and highly successful Royalty Inn Hotel and Paramount Hotel, in which Schrager again broke with industry convention by introducing lobby socializing, where the hotel lobby became a new kind of gathering place for guests and New York City residents alike. I don't think really we needed to go through this whole introduction, but I'm glad we did because I think everyone knows Ian. Ian, come on up. Inordinate amount of press and awards since you developed your first hotel. Why is that, and what does it mean to you, and what are your memorable experiences?
The industry is incredibly gratifying, and it's very special for me, and I kind of never get used to it, and I always covet getting awards and getting recognition, obviously. I think, you know, when we're trying to do a hotel or anything, we're trying to create a unique experience. You know, we're not having our eye on making money. We want to make money, obviously. We won't have an opportunity to do another one, but we're trying to create something really special. And I think all the awards are very important to me, but really what's most important is when the public reacts. And what we've done is resonating with the public. And I think at the end of the day, that's the goal.
Okay. Well, you inspire so many people in this industry, and with an amazing career that has spanned 30 years, you've certainly worked with amazing and influential artists and designers. What is the Schrager magic, so to speak, and what have you learned from those experiences?
Well, excuse me, all we're really trying to do is kind of mask the details, overwhelm the customer visually, viscerally, and try and create an alchemy that it's like in making a soup or a bouillabaisse. It's like you put all these elements into the pot. You're not quite sure where you're going to wind up with it. It's not something that comes out of a brand book. I couldn't write a book about it. I couldn't tell you specifically what the process is, but you just go out there, you do everything possible you can do to make it special, and then this alchemy happens, this spark happens, and 1 + 1 makes 3. And I think that's what separates a really unique experience, whether it's a unique hotel, whether it's a unique show, movie, book, anything. It's that kind of unspoken, unanticipated result that comes about, you know, when you do that. And I think that's not something that you can get out of a brand book. It's not something you can get out of an institutional approach. It's something I think that drives the institutions crazy, because it can't be written down into a rule book. But I think that's what we're out for. That's the goal, and we've been lucky enough to be successful through 4 decades to accomplish that.
Okay. Innovative, sophisticated, authentic are all words you've used to describe your new public brands, which has a location in Chicago and one soon to open in New York. Can you explain what gives it those qualities and characteristics? And as a more value-oriented, mid-priced brand, what makes Public different from your other ventures?
Well, Public is like a new genre of hotel. We're kind of very excited about it. It doesn't fit into a normal classification. It doesn't fit into boutique hotel, select hotel, luxury hotel. It's really trying to take all of the better elements of every one of those segments, the best from each, combine it and create a new kind of hotel where you get the same kind of luxury services you would get in a luxury hotel. You get the same kind of services you would get in a luxury hotel. You get the exciting food and beverage concepts that you might get in a lifestyle hotel, but you also get it for great value, which I think is a password for today. It's not a result of an economic cycle. I think people are interested in getting good value. And I don't think there's anybody doing that yet. We kind of did it when we did the Paramount back in 1990 because it was a big hotel and the rooms were small and we didn't really know what we were doing. We just wanted to do something that was economically successful. And we did it again with the Hudson in 2000. Now, however, I'm seeing the same opportunity in that space, that price point space that I saw in the lifestyle section 25 years ago. Where you go in with something incredibly stylish, incredibly sophisticated. You're not pandering down. You're not appealing to the lowest common denominator. You're appealing to the highest common denominator. You're appealing to both boomers and millennials. You're appealing to both people with money and who don't have so much money, because all people want to get good value for their money today. And I think that's what Public is trying to embody. I think in terms about doing something innovative and something authentic, I think if it's not authentic, then the people know the difference. I think there are a lot of people out there that are attempting to do lifestyle hotels. They kind of all look alike, but they come in different colors. And I think they're not the real thing, and they're not authentic. And the sophisticated customers that we're out for, those people that have a kind of a certain sensibility, they're the people in the know, they're the people everybody else tries to follow. They know the difference between the real thing and not the real thing, between the Coca-Cola and the Royal Crown Cola. And we're out to do the Coca-Cola. I think innovative, it's a little bit of a tricky balancing act because you want to be innovative, you want to be edgy, but you don't want to be too provocative. You don't want to be ahead of your time, and you want to do something that people feel comfortable with and not too challenged. But it's sufficiently new that it's a kind of eye-opener. People know they're in a new place. They can feel the electricity in the air because it is new. And all of those things, the authenticity, the innovativeness of it, the forward thinking of it, part of it, it all comes in and creates this kind of, takes you to a place you couldn't really anticipate and you couldn't really map out. You kind of land there.
You just mentioned millennials, so it's a hot topic obviously right now, and I'm wondering how that tech-savvy generation has impacted your business, and what do hoteliers need to consider when designing for the millennial generation?
Well, Public, of course. I think, again, the big hotel companies are kind of making a mistake again. Everybody has millennials on their brain, and I know they're 80 million strong and the biggest segment of the population since the boomers, but I think it's a mistake to go after the millennials just the same way I think it's a mistake to go after the boomers. We're trying to do a hotel that appeals to both millennials and boomers, that it kind of resonates with people in the same way music does, same way Apple products do. Are Apple products for millennials or Apple products for boomers? No, they appeal to a sensibility. So, I think it's a mistake and it's an over logic to try and say we're after millennials and being technologically sophisticated is more about signs now, because there is nothing technologically. All the things and all the bells and whistles that we see going into the hotels really feel contrived and really don't add the experience. I remember when hotels all put faxes in the rooms and gave you portable phones and gave you stationery with your name on it, and then they started putting iPads in the room, giving you personal computers, all these things that were really irrelevant to people. So now you read about all these things about going into a hotel room and being able to control the air conditioning and the lights and and the shades and all these things. Well, you know, Google and all these technology companies all came out with these programs, and they were unsuccessful. You know, people really didn't care about them. And so, you know, Apple's trying to do it right now. Maybe they'll be the one that'll really be able to pull it off because they do something that consumers respond to. But up to now, technology, I don't think anything anybody's doing is sustainable. There's a big company who's doing a new brand, is putting Apple TVs in the room. Well, it can't be sustained. It's not going to work. And I know there are a lot of other systems and everybody's groping around, but I'm not so sure that it's not like an arms race for technology, and it's not quite there yet. So that's my view. And so I don't think that technology alone, it has to be technology, it has to be sophisticated, there has to be a sensitivity towards it. I mean, in the lowest common denominator, you have to have plugs for all your machines all over the room, and you don't have to crawl under the desk to get to it, and other kind of things like that, sensitive, intelligent things like that. But the technology hasn't caught up with the desire of every hotel company to have a technologically sophisticated hotel, and I think we're making mistakes. I mean, I'm not going off on this, but, you know, somebody comes into a hotel room, they stay in the room for a day and a half. How are they going to figure out how to use the technology, you know, in the room? I mean, they're there a day and a half. And so, you know, we're like kind of, we want to do it. We'd like to be on the edge. We'd like to do it first. We'd like to do it in the most intelligent way. But we have a kind of look-see to see where it lands. It's not there yet as far as we're concerned.
Okay. Let's stay on the theme of the younger generation right now and talk about hospitality students. What should they be focusing most on? And also, what can today's hospitality schools do to help develop a curriculum geared towards the boutique and lifestyle segments?
You know, I think the whole industry is moving towards lifestyle segments. I mean, you know, Marriott, you know, has, you know, 3 really great new lifestyle brands with Edition, AC, and Moxie, and I think Hilton is working on it. I think every company, I think it's the future of the business boutiques. I think though it took those guys 20 years to finally catch on, and I think they're all realizing that a better experience is something that's good business, good, you know, and it's good for business, and it's a way of distinguishing yourself. I think the best thing, if I have children and one of them may be interested in the hotel business, I think there's 2 things. I think the best thing to do would be when you get out of school to go work for a big company and learn all the rules, and then go work for a lifestyle company and break all the rules. But you have to know what the rules are first so that you can intelligently choose which ones to follow and which ones not to follow. So I kind of think that the curriculum, you know, I think it would be a great idea if they encouraged semesters where people can go and work and then come back to school and kind of put to use, you know, what they've learned. I know a lot of the hotel schools, a lot of children, not children anymore, but a lot of college kids are really focused on the food end of the hospitality world. It seems to be the glamour, you know, the glamour business. You know, I lived through, it was a rock stars, artists, media stars. Now it's chefs.
It's chefs.
So, you know, I think, you know, that's all great, and there'll be a lot of whole new concepts coming into the lifestyle section. We're trying to do a bunch that haven't been done before. I think we were the first to show that you can have food and beverage in a hotel and make money with it. But I think that's it. I think go to a hospitality school and then come out and work for a big company for a couple of years if you can bear it, and then come out and work for a lifestyle company.
Who inspires you today in 2014? Who are you inspired by, both from a hospitality perspective and a personal perspective?
In a personal perspective, definitely inspired by Steve Jobs. I mean,
And what?
Well, you know, I just think, you know, the iPad's been around for 20 years. It took him to come there and kind of package it and put it and make it useful for people that they couldn't live without it. But it was around for 20 years. The iPod was around for many, many years. So, to me, he's this guy that just inspiring, being able to take existing technologies and existing products and put them together in a way that resonate with people, that they respond to. And, it's not just the design and the packaging, it's kind of fun to use. The experience is elevated, and it gets people like myself who are not technologically sophisticated. I can use it. Now that Steve Jobs is not there, and he had all these things on the computer that like wood and books, and that they're kind of taken off the computer. I thought that was a kind of great idea because it made it kind of friendly for people like me who really didn't take to it as easy as my 12-year-old kid does, picks it up and knows how to do everything. So I think, he, and of course other entrepreneurs like David Geffen, Michael Eisner, Barry Diller, and, all those guys been incredibly inspiring for me. I think in the industry, of course, Bill Marriott. If I don't say Bill Marriott, I might as well pack it in. But really Bill Marriott, because I think he's really, an icon, built from a root beer stand. What he's done, this incredibly efficient machine. I think in terms of creating unique assets, even though they're not like the assets that I like or I go to, would have to be Steve Wynn. And I think Saul Kersner was also really great, but Steve Wynn has the kind of same approach that I have, but maybe for a different market, but he also wants to overwhelm the customer, and every detail is a matter of life and death for him, as it is for me as well. I think, other than Bill and Arnie and all the guys I work with at Marriott, who I really have a tremendous amount of respect and admiration for, and Steve Wynn and Saul Kersner, who went down to the Bahamas and made a success out of a hotel after 2 or 3 or 4 impresarios went down there and couldn't make it work. So I think, those two guys, I think, have been inspiring for me, and I also have a tremendous amount of admiration for Adrian Zecca, who did the Yamans. But I think most of my inspiration comes from without the industry.
Okay. Is your dream project still out there, or have you designed it yet? And is there anything other than hotels that you would like to design?
Of course, my dream project is still out there. Every project.
What would you?
Every project is my dream project. Okay. If or else I wouldn't do it. I think I'm enjoying more doing new builds. I think most of the things we're working on are new builds because you have a blank canvas. You can really try new ideas. When you do a renovation, it's more difficult. You don't have the same latitude. So, like for instance, if I wanted to try not using Bellman, because everybody's suitcase is on wheels and nobody really cares about Bellman anymore. If in a renovation, if I have a hotel that has steps up into the lobby, well, I can't really do that. I can't really utilize that idea. So I think, my dream project, is a new build, great architecture, lots and lots of public space, and thousands and thousands of rooms.
And anything other than hotels?
Pardon me?
Anything other than hotels?
Yeah, I could, anything, any kind of entertainment I would enjoy. I could enjoy doing a movie or a show or basically anything that is an opportunity to kind of look at culturally what's going on at the moment and kind of put it all together and create something new with it, anything. I just happened to be in hotels because I think it was a logical progression from nightclubs, kind of moved on from that.
Okay. What do you want your legacy to be? When they speak of you, what words will best describe you as a person, a hotelier, a designer, and an innovator?
Willing to take a chance and willing to risk failure. I'm not afraid of failure, which allows me to. I say I'm not afraid of failure. If I ever had one, it would be devastating. But I guess that's what makes me so relentless about pursuing every detail. But I'm not afraid to try new things, and I'm willing to, to risk and really. So I'm not afraid of failure. But after that threshold decision, I'm relentless about doing everything possible and not leaving a stone unturned to make sure I don't have a failure. As far as legacy, I'm not ready to talk about my legacy yet. I think I would like to be one of those people in the industry that carried the baton a bit. That I made a difference, I made an impact. I like to think boutiques have changed the industry, and so I would like people to think if they talk about people, that have impacted the industry, that hopefully I'll be in that constellation. Other than that, that's really it.
Are you writing your memoirs yet? Are you?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Halfway
Any
through.
Plans? Any after this?
I don't know. We're doing a book now on all the work, a monograph of all the work, which I'm kind of happy about. I'm finally doing a book on Studio 54. I read Berry Gordy, the guy from Motown, said if the hunter doesn't tell the story, the lion will. So I think I finally want to get out there and really tell everybody what happened. I think I might write something at some point, maybe for my kids, but I'm not thinking about it now.
Some of your best memories that might go into that book?
I think, like falling in love for the first time, I think, the first hotels I opened up with Steve, and, we opened up and people were there. We couldn't believe it, and they slept there for the night, and, we didn't know what we didn't know, and I think, you always have fond memories when you get started. And I think, but every hotel I open, I have exhilarating moments. That's what keeps me passionate about it. I still love it. I still have a passion. I still want to create something new. I still want to blow people away. I still want to up the standard. I still want to outdo myself. And that's why I keep at it.
So instead of talking about memories, what are you most excited about going forward in terms of the industry? What do you see on the horizon right now that you really are?
I'm wanting to do something in big scale. I think, Steve and I really did start the boutique hotel. There wasn't anything or anybody out there that had put it all together the way we did. And I was really never interested in doing a big company. But what we started with, there are thousands of versions, and we could have had thousands of hotels if that interested me. It never really did. Now I'm interested in that because I haven't done it before. So that's why I did the deal with Marriott, and that's why I'm finally doing a brand public, because I'd like to do something and do it on big scale because it's a mountain I haven't climbed before. So both with Marriott, like to me, I would like to do. I think a brand like a Edition for Marriott, there's a certain ceiling on it. It can't have 800 like Courtyards, but it can have 150, and I would love to do that. And in public, trying to create a brand and roll out a bunch and then sell it.
When is the New York City one scheduled to open?
We're working on 4 now, and in various stages, and 3 in the city, and 1 in Brooklyn.
Okay, great. That's exciting. I want to take at least a moment here to see if there are questions from the audience, make sure we have enough time for that. Yes?
First off, thank you very much. It was really informative. How are you able?
I think there's a microphone coming your way, just to make sure everyone can hear.
Hello. Thank you very much. That was a wonderful panel. I really enjoyed it. You have a very unique ability to stay current, yet understand and stay sensitive to people's needs. How are you able to do that so well?
You know, it's a gift. You know, one of my kids has it. They walk into a room, they can see things. Not all my kids can see it. This particular child walks into a room and sees everything. Boom. You know, if I come in, she's young. I come in with a haircut, they know. Today I happened to be playing around and said I need to cut my toenails, and so you know I can walk into a room and I could just see something that other people can't see, you know, and I maybe because I think outside the box, you know, I can connect the dots. And most people could connect the dots by looking back. I could connect the dots in the present. You know, I see something and I say, whoa, you know, like I think right now people are interested in value. You know, that's just something I feel, you know, really, really, really rich people bargaining and negotiating like crazy, you know, when you get cheap rooms and, you know, and not pay extra for brands and for clothes and even though they buy all these luxury goods and all, but I just think that people are going to be in for value going forward, period. If this cycle lasts 10 more years, people are interested in value. I think some of the clothing companies are seeing that and coming out with lower price lines. So that's just, I don't know, it's a kind of, I've always was interested in it. You know, maybe it got, you know, honed when I was in the nightclub business when you don't really have any discernible product and all you have is the kind of cultural wave riding, you know, that I still do now. Like you know Italy. Like I think fast food gourmet is the future, and you know, I didn't do a focus group. I just feel it.
Thank you very much.
And how do you achieve that balance between value and being reasonably priced without sacrificing style, which is so important, and sophistication?
You got to edit out all of those remnants of luxury which are irrelevant today. You know, obvious ones are service with white gloves. You know, room service pantries on every floor. You know, like waves and waves and waves of staff. Wake-up calls by a live operator. The bellman valet parkers that you walk outside your hotel and you have to give waves of tips before you get. And it's, you know, 24-hour room service, except in a location like California where people arrive from New York, maybe 1 o'clock in the morning. I mean, it's just editing out those things. It's a modern luxury. It's the things that people really don't care about that in our industry we're reluctant to give up because we're afraid, because our competitors not giving up on them. So I think it's editing out all those things people really don't care about. You know, the select service, you know, those guys kind of had the right idea. They didn't have food and beverage because they couldn't make money with food and beverage. But it's this idea of really providing a really stylized room and being treated nicely and with respect and attentively and having great food and beverage and great bars. And being able to get in a hotel room in New York and spend $300 or $400 rather than $1,000. It's a no-brainer for me.
Okay. We have time for maybe one more question. Yes?
Thank you very much. There is so much incredible detail in every project you've ever done, and yet they all open up on time. How do you decide what detail to hand select yourself and what to delegate out to people you trust.
I'm sorry, how do I decide what? I'm hard of hearing.
What details to select yourself and what task to delegate to the people that you trust.
Well, that's a problem for me. You know, when it comes to the visual, every detail, I have a great team that I work with for a long time. I am not a one-man band. I have people that I work with for 25 and 30 years, and we have a whole team of architects and designers, but I'm intimately involved in every detail. I can't delegate the success of a project to somebody. I mean, to me, at the end of the day, it's my reputation, but I'm learning. Operationally, I'm learning to delegate. I don't have an issue with that. But when it comes to creating the product and something that kind of, I'm not sure what makes the difference between success and failure. I'm learning a little bit with Marriott, because in Marriott I can't maintain the kind of autocratic control I can do in my own business, and so I'm kind of learning that if it's 5 or 10% off, I'm the only one that notices it, and so it's a little bit liberating for me. So, but when it comes to the product and the experience and the creating of the experience, I'm involved in all the details. But I have good people I trust.
Thank you. I want to thank you so much for your time
Pleasure.
today and for sitting down to talk with us.